Hey, so the question was asked, am I ready for the next season of life? I hope so. I have questions. I do. Please let me know when I can ask them. Because one, out of curiosity, two, because so the first reason is out of curiosity. So in regards to your sibling, because I'm just guesstimating. I'm not entirely sure. Um, yeah, not 100% sure, unless your sibling doesn't feel comfortable talking about, or you don't feel comfortable talking about it, then I understand. Yeah, so so that's one. Two is, yeah, if they don't feel comfortable, then never mind. I can, like, I guess when the time is right, I can talk with, again, when the time is right, I can talk with your sibling, and if your sibling is comfortable with it, they can tell me, like, what's going on. If they're not, then I understand. Just let me know. I don't feel comfortable talking about it right now. Because I know, like, some people are able, feel comfortable, and others, it's like, give me like a couple years to comfortably talking about it, or not at all. So, yeah. Um, there's that one. The other one is I do have questions just in regards to like life, like how have you been? What has been up specifically with you? Because I know I basically have shared a lot of what's been going on with my life. And then in my case, I'm like, okay, so you've told me like certain main things. What else has been going on with your life? Because just I have no idea. Like, and I would love to know what else is going on in your life. The other part is there's a few very important questions that I want to ask, and it's like I sincerely want your opinion on it, because uh, just to find out how you feel about certain things, and based upon how you feel will determine, like, I still want to definitely be with you, but it just determines what direction I need to make in order to support your decision. um, Either A, which will more than likely happen, or B, where it's like, okay, so you want this, and this is what I want. Here, how about a compromise? I don't see that happening, but the only reason why I don't see that happening is because, like, I'm more than happy to submit and support. But at the same time, um, aside from that, ooh, this was good. Um, aside from that, worst comes to worst, it's like, okay, let's go ahead and figure out a compromise. Let's go ahead and write each of our answers down on like a sheet of paper and like negotiate. Or it's like, hey, okay, so you want this, so how about, what do you think about this? So that way it's more in line of what you want. So yeah, just things like that. And then yeah, again, I'm like 9 times out of 10, I'll probably support, or like the other way is like, again, it'll be like some kind of compromise. Um, so that way, it's like, yeah, I don't know. In regards to compromise, like, I don't know what that will look like. Um, so yeah, I don't know, because I have questions, and I'm like, I imagine they'll go fairly smoothly, but yeah, but I yeah. um so yeah, like what was it, parental classes, for example, I think will be very important, and then just figuring out, like, okay, I I don't know. I would basically have to talk with you about it. It's nothing to be. I'm not mad at you. I'm not disappointed. It's just something that I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about either the simple things or the hard things. And it could be things like, what do we do with all my books? Or like, what do we do with my kitchen stuff? So like simple things like that. And then, so there's A, and then B, it might be like, the hard stuff might be like, how do you feel about, no, how do you feel? Not like, so just to clarify, because, yeah, the last couple that I stayed with, the lady was just like, thought I implied something whenever I asked her a question, and I'm not trying to imply. It's just that I simply want to know the direct truth, instead of being like, hey, you know what, I want this, like, what do you think? And then you feeling obligated to do what I want. That is not what I want at all. Instead, what I want is like your honest opinion of like, hey, you know what? Like, I could be like, hey, how do you feel about moving out of the country? And like, you might say, yeah, sure, like we can totally move out of the country. But that's not like what I'm asking at all. But instead it's like, how do you feel about moving out of the country? And you could be like, well, I don't feel like moving out of the country, but I would love to visit another country one day. And then maybe like when we're like in our 50s, we can move to another country for like a year just to get a taste of it, especially if we're both working from home. Or like, let's say I'm teaching English and like you're doing something else, for example. It's like, oh, okay, like that, like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. So I just want to clarify on that, because I definitely don't want you to, I don't want to ask a question and then you be like, oh, I have to do this. The reason why I asked the question is because, yeah, I definitely 100% do not want you to just be like, I agree with you. The reason why I asked the question is because I already, like, for some things, I don't know what I want. And it's like, hey, you know what? This is like an interesting idea. I want your input in order to see what might be next, or like what options I could consider. The other reason why is because I want your input, and I already like have an idea in my mind, and I'm like, okay, I want to go that way, or I want to go that way. But then like I ask you because I'm like, okay, like I'm thinking about going this way, and then you're like, well, yeah, da da da, and you give me the answer, and it's like that way or it's that way, and then I'm like, okay, so now I understand like which way you want to go, and I'm like, okay, so you want to go that way, and now I need to realign my ideas where it's like, okay, I need something closer to what you want, or it's like, you know what, I never considered that idea, so because you want like this way, I want this way, then it's like I can bring up my idea, not necessarily I want to go that way, but like, hey, what do you think about like doing this, like somewhere in the middle of the two ideas? Or I could be like, if not this idea, what ideas do you have that might be somewhere between what I suggested or what I want, and then also what you want? And so, yeah, because I like, and you're used to compromising, and in my case, or like being willing to sacrifice and just love someone, which I absolutely adore. It's absolutely wonderful. And then like, it's a wonderful trait. And yeah, but just to give you just to clarify, I am more than happy with your honesty, and so that way, I read this story basically where it's basically there was this couple, they had been married for years, and the husband went ahead and he had a work trip, and his wife went with him. But every time they went, it was always to like a particular city, and they would be there for like a weekend or the week or something like that. So, uh, yeah, so I was like, sorry, squirrel. So they went ahead and like would go there. Well, the wife wanted to go to another city, but she was afraid to mention it, I guess, or didn't think her husband would care. And so one day, like, they went into marriage counseling, and this is in the 5 love languages of the human heart. And whenever they went into counseling, the counselor was like, "Hey, like, why don't you go ahead and take your wife to this other location, not to like the East Coast, but to this other location for the business trip?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that sounds good. Like, we can totally take that trip there." And then the wife starts crying because she thought all along that he would not care. So all that to say, I do care, and so hence why I definitely would like to hear your honest opinion on it. So yeah, um, and then that way, yeah, we can basically work through it. And so yeah. And then also, I remember reading one lady who like just brags about her husband basically, and I'm like, that is so sweet. And so she mentioned that basically like part of it is the wife definitely submitting, even if she's not happy with it. Like she's gone to her room and she's cried sometimes because of his answer. So there's that. And then the other part is like, she was like, yeah, sometimes compromise isn't quite getting what both people want, but it's like a middle ground. And it's like interesting. But yeah, so just wanted to give you a heads up. And then, yeah, I definitely, yeah, so I think parenting courses will be important in all of this. So, yeah. So, am I ready for the next season? I definitely hope so. Um, and I really need to pray and fast, honestly. Yeah. And I really hope that you're also ready for it. So, yeah. Um, I think, honestly, I think you're more ready for it than I am. Because I go ahead and, like, um, because I like just my life and such, but yeah. So I think you're great. I've always thought you've been great, honestly. That's why I've been like, hey, you know what? If you show up and then like propose like a week later, I would totally be like, yes. So yeah. Um, so yeah. Anyways, I will talk to you later. I hope that you have a great day. Let me know if there is anything else you want to talk about, and I will respond. Yeah, I'll respond in the morning. So, yeah, talk to you later. Bye.